Attending. I will officially call the meeting to order, and if everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, item 3. Ms. Cox, well, are there any additions, corrections, modifications, or substitutions to the current agenda?
I have two. I'll read those for you.
Okay, thank you.
Two amendments to the agenda. The first one is an addition to old business, and that's number 12, old business, approval of Wood River Middle School expansion budget, and for discussion and action. And the second amendment is addition to new business, item 12, permission to add one science teaching position at Silver Creek High School, and that is also discussion and action.
Under new business.
Yes.
Yep, okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to approve the amendments to the agenda as read?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Motions or amendments are approved. Okay. Next on the agenda are accolades for the month, and I'm just going to hand that over to Dr. Barber, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You do such a good job, but I do have the best job in the meeting, right?
Yeah, you
I get to
do.
read the
Yep.
accolades. So, and you know what I really liked about the accolades was they were about our teachers, different teachers, and also written by one of our teachers. So the first one says, Ginger. And I don't see her here. I was looking around, so I don't think
She's
she...
taking the Google training.
Oh, she is?
4
Okay.
hours.
Okay. Ginger Reardon. Ginger, I just want to thank you for all you've done for Abby this year. I cannot even begin to explain the difference you've made in her life. You are a teacher she will always remember. Before your class, she was always a good, average student, but you tapped into Abby like no one else has. She is so motivated and excited about school. It is such a great gift. Thank you. You are a wonderful teacher and role model, and I cannot thank you enough for all your hard work and dedication. It shows every day in my daughter. Thank you, Sue Heafy. Sue Heafy. So I want to add to it and just tell you, as a teacher, that's better than a paycheck. And as a superintendent, you know, connected with his teachers, I know Mrs. Reardon well, and I just want the board to know she did the same thing for my daughter. So we have an incredible teaching staff in our schools.
And mine, not to interrupt.
And Claire also. So,
Doing it for mine right now.
you know, we are so fortunate in Blaine County not only to have the resources to keep class sizes small, but the quality of teachers in our classroom is just phenomenal. And I think it's wonderful that our parents are recognizing it.
Yep.
The second one is for Jesse Neat and Juan Martinez. My son plays junior varsity baseball at Bishop Kelly High School. This past weekend, Bishop Kelly's junior varsity baseball team had a game against the Wood River junior varsity team in a doubleheader at Settlers Park in Meridian. Due to very strong winds, I set my chair up right next to the Wood River dugout as a windbreak, and thus I was right next to your coaches and the players. I have to say, your two coaches, Jesse Neat and Juan Martinez, were some of the most, all caps, impressive coaches I have ever had the pleasure to watch. My husband and I have 2 boys, so I have watched baseball games for the past 12 years, and I've seen a lot of coaching styles. However, both of your coaches really stood out in a most positive way, and I just wanted to let you know. The younger coach, Juan, told me he was only 21 years old. He was constantly encouraging every player on every play. Even when Wood River players would make a mistake, he would tell them what they need to do to fix their mistake, but then would always encourage them with a huge smile, hug, or kind word. And then she gives it to us just a little bit. But even though both games were a little one-sided, the Wood River Your players were also very polite and good sports with their loss. These two coaches definitely deserve a raise and a huge pat on the back. They are one in a million, and your players and school are so fortunate to have them. Just wanted to let you know how lucky Wood River is to have coaches like these two. They are outstanding ambassadors for Wood River High School and high school baseball. Hope you let them know how impressive they are. And I think that's amazingly impressive because that's just out of a parent who lives in Boise and just had an encounter with our team and our coaches. So, you know, when they represent us like that, there's nothing better.
That's the way it should happen. It's terrific.
And I will tell you, all of our teams are like that. You know, when I go there, it doesn't matter if I'm at the soccer games, you know, the football games, we have great sportsmanship. And I'm proud of the kids for that, and I'm proud of the coaches for instilling it. One more short one. Lori, this one is to Rex and the BCSD Transportation Department. Lori, being a coach and club advisor at Wood River High School for the past 10 years has put me behind the wheel of the 15-passenger bus for thousands of miles. With all these trips come many challenges, none of which have been due to transportation. The Transportation Department has always been exceptionally thoughtful, willing to work with me, well prepared, and ready when needed. This last trip was an example of how well they operate. Again, my bus was ready to go with snow tires. It ran well and was clean. I want to thank the mechanics for taking pride in the work they do and making sure each bus I take is in perfect working order and will not break down. They treat these buses as they would their own vehicles. Thanks to them, I never have to worry about traveling with my students. Kindly, Joel Zellers, Wood River High School.
Rex, where are you? Stand up.
Absolutely.
The only thing is, I've got a great group of people that work for me, and they take it upon themselves a lot of times to just make sure everything's ready, and it's a great group of people I work with.
Great, thank you. All right, so Dr. Barber, you're off the hook.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Not for being off the hook, but for allowing me
For
to
now,
do that.
yeah. Paul?
Just one comment. Juan Martinez's mother is in the room. So maybe she can stand and we can clap for Juan.
Juan and Jesse apologize. They're actually coaching at Nelson Field right now, so I'll extend the accolade and thanks and let them know how well received it was at the board meeting tonight.
Great, terrific. Thank
job, Paul.
Graduate of 2010. Juan
You do, right?
I don't think so this summer.
He's not going to do it this summer?
No, I think he's going to still doing too much
Oh.
coaching.
All right. So next on the agenda, and something that we always look forward to, are our student or school presentations. And tonight, we were fortunate enough to hear from the Wood River High School student leadership. And thank you all for coming, and if you wouldn't mind just stepping forward here. Well, that's quite a group. Yeah, you can go. Sure. You just might get blinded a little bit.
And guys, would you let me know when you want the video, and I'll bring this down and bring that up.
Sure. So as you can see, we have quite the group here. I'm actually not going to use this. Can everyone hear me back there?
No, because we have a streaming to
Okay,
the
there we go.
outside.
Can you hear me?
You're going to singing at some point, so.
Perfect. So yeah, as you see, we have quite the group here. So first, I think we should just introduce ourselves. I'm Gus Kimball, the student body president over at Wood River High School, and I've had the pleasure of being involved in a bunch of different things, whether it be NHS, Model UN. I run the gamut of stuff, and I'll pass it over to Nicole Pratt.
I'm Nicole Pratt. I'm co-senior class president. I'm involved in FCCLA, and I also do track.
I'm Trevor Brand. I'm the co-senior class president with Nicole. I'm on the soccer team, football team, and PPA, and I just do whatever.
Hi, I'm Mary Petsky. I am junior class vice president, and I'm in choir, volleyball, golf team, and NHS.
I'm Daniel Owens. I don't sound as awesome as they do because I only play soccer.
I'm Lee Coulthard. I hang out at the school. I'm on the debate team. I play golf, and just junior class treasurer. So, yeah, excited to get this started. Thanks for all being here.
All right, well, part of my assignment was to find out more about the IB program and what is involved in that. So I made a quick video with another freshman who couldn't make it tonight, Brady, on the IB program. So here it is.
Ethan, why did it go blank? I didn't push anything.
Oh, had it. There you go.
Okay. Here we go. Got the sound, Ethan?
A few years ago, Wood River High School decided to start the process to become an international baccalaureate school, also known as IB. The IB program is a nonprofit educational foundation motivated by its mission focused on the student. The IB focuses on a learner profile that includes 10 terms that students should work to become. Wood River High School Student Union spoke to students who fit these profiles as well as Mr. Jervich to talk more about the program.
International Baccalaureate Middle Years program culminates in 10th grade with the personal project at the high school. We do know that the students who are currently in 6th grade, I believe, are the first group that will be taking the personal project as a class, as a sophomore. And we're working behind the scenes to make that a real successful transition. I'm excited about IB. I'm excited about the middle school and high school working together and us creating meaningful learning that will span 5 years so that a student doesn't go from a 6th grade class to a 7th grade class or from an 8th to a 9th, and there's this huge disconnect in learning. There should be a nice continuum where students are asked to apply themselves to a much higher level pretty much each year that they stay in the program, and then culminates in 10th grade.
I'm Gus Kimball, and the school has made me a knowledgeable individual in a couple ways. It's really pushed me to learn a lot more than I would have by myself, but it's also allowed me to take a lot more classes than I would have. It has, through independent studies and teachers who really care about what's going to happen to me and where I'm going, I've been able to take as much and as hard as I want, and that's been a huge part of Wood River High School, and I think that's what makes me knowledgeable.
Hi, I'm Tommy Bailey. I'm a senior at Wood River High School, and I'm a risk taker because of athletics that Wood River High School has provided for me. I have to be a risk taker because I've given up a lot of class time and out of school time to do homework for my athletics. Without risk, you won't get great reward.
I'm Aaron Bates. I'm a junior at Wood River High School. The opportunity here has allowed me to be a balanced person because of all the sports that I've played and classes I've taken, such as AP classes and sports med. It's made me find a balance between getting my schoolwork done and playing sports. And being with my friends in Wood River has provided me with that opportunity to be a balanced human.
Hey, I'm Mary Petsky, and I'm a junior at Wood River High School. And being at this school has really helped me to become a strong communicator because all the teachers here are really great and easy to talk to, and they help a lot with any problems you're having in the class or just in life in general. And as a part of Student Union, I've learned lots of communication skills with helping to plan events and speaking in front of large audiences.
Hi, I'm Thomas Hayden, and I'm a senior, and the school has given me a lot of opportunity to reflect on my mistakes. I know a lot of people know that I got in some trouble when I moved here, but the school, through my teachers and my counselors, it's given me the opportunity to reflect on my mistakes and go on and do well and get my grades up and whatnot, and now I'm, living my dream and going to college.
I'm Bailey Cleveland, and I'm a sophomore, and I'm a thinker because my teachers inspire me to think independently and work at things on my own and try new things.
My name is Claire, and I am a sophomore. My peers have viewed me as a caring person, and I think that with what comes with that is just being able to look out for other people and being kind to other people and just looking out for your fellow classmates.
I'm Lydia Jervich, and I'm in 9th grade. I always ask a lot of questions in class because I like to learn
more about the particular subject. Whatever interests me, I ask a bunch of questions. I bet I annoy teachers a lot, but they always answer and reply kindly.
I'm Luke Verst. I'm a junior, and I'm principled because I hold up the values of being honest and truthful and fair. And my whole life I've been raised in the church, and those values are pushed upon you. And coming from homeschool to the high school, the same values are held up here, which is good.
I'm Lily Roebuck. I'm a freshman. I got the opportunity to go to Travel Club with Wood River, and we went to France, and I got to experience how other people live in different countries. I got to bring back with me open-mindedness, and all of my peers did as well.
Overall, International Baccalaureate has improved the way students learn and act. Wood River will keep shining on, leading students to be tomorrow's future leaders.
The thing that was somewhat difficult about IB is that it hasn't exactly been fully implemented into our school yet, because I believe it's the 6th graders that are going to be the first class, and I know they've applied and stuff, but teachers have already started like pushing the principals on us and stuff like that, as well as there's like a bunch of signs hanging up that say all the 10 things.
All right. Well, we're gonna start like presentations about what each different areas in our school, like clubs and sports and whatnot. So I'm gonna talk about the range of classes in terms of like skill level. So my friend Lane, he's going to talk about the AP classes, but I'm actually going to talk about how many like remedial and lower level classes we offer. We offer about around 20 between the 2 semesters, and it's all different kinds. So you have speech, government, history, it doesn't matter. If you need help in a specific area, you've got it. And the idea is there that if you are not so good at math, but let's say you're great at English, you still have the opportunity to take an AP English class even if you have foundations of algebra or whatnot.
That's awesome, and I think that's what makes Wood River High School so great. I've been afforded the pleasure of moving here during 6th grade and coming to see this school district and how it operates and how there's such a vast gap between where the people are on the bottom and they're struggling, and you see the top. If you look to the AP program, the high school has 13 AP programs and classes, and you see the range of classes. Like Daniel said, we have everything from ceramics to calculus, and what this does is allows for tons of individuals to have a chance to not only get college credits, but improve their resumes for college. You see that last year we had 329 individuals take AP tests, and you can see this is a huge percentage of our student body, and this is a really good thing, and I hope the AP program continues to get funding. It continues to be an intricate part of the Wood River High School student body.
Okay, so I get to talk about the music department, and we were very fortunate here at Wood River High School to have such a well-supported music department and programs. We have 5 different choirs, 4 bands, and 2 orchestras, and 1 out of every 4 students at our school participate in a music program. I personally participate in Cola Voce and concert choir, and Cola Voce and the B-Tones are actually heading out to Anaheim, California tomorrow night, and we're going to be competing at the Heritage Festival with choirs from across the country, and it's just a really awesome opportunity, and it teaches us lots about performance and gives us like great knowledge and stuff like that, and just a really fun experience. And the choirs, we hold about 5 concerts a year, and we'll compete at a music festival later this month. The bands have had a lot of success this year as well, and they've gotten to perform at pep assemblies and games, as well as at the Sun Valley Jazz Jamboree. Our orchestras have done lots of performances as well, and have done really well in their festivals. And on behalf of all the music department, I'd like to say that we're very grateful to get to use our beautiful new auditorium to share our music with everyone, because that's just been really awesome. And also, living here in the Wood River Valley, we are very fortunate to have lots of other outside influences. I personally just got a scholarship from the Sun Valley Center of Arts to help me go to a music camp this summer, and I know about 30 other high schoolers got scholarships as well. And it'll just help us improve our own abilities, to improve our school group's abilities as a whole. And Music just brings me joy, and I know it's improved my life a lot, and the same goes for 215 other students at high school.
I'm talking about sports. So sports have been found to exceedingly increase motivation throughout school systems. Research has confirmed that students who are involved in school sports have shown a higher graduation rate than those who don't. At Wood River High School, we hold a 60% of kids who are active in sports throughout our school. We offer a total of 9 school sports to participate throughout the year. And not only do we offer so many sports, but we also do very well. So for our fall sports, we have soccer and volleyball. The boys soccer and the girls soccer and the volleyball team both all made it to state. And football played very well this year. For our winter sports, we have wrestling, who also made it to state and did awesome. And basketball, boys and girls, fought really hard this season and did really well. For spring, we have, which is all going on right now, obviously, we have tennis, who have a match today against Community School in Philly, I think. And they're doing really well, hopefully make it to state. Softball, they have a bunch of freshmen who came out, which is really cool. Baseball, they have a game today as well, and they're doing really well. And track is hoping to make it to state with a bunch of kids. So, yeah, that's for sports. Thank you.
So I have the honor of getting to talk about both the breadth and the depth of Wood River High School. And so I'm going to be talking about both clubs and extracurricular activities as well as senior project. And so I guess to start on clubs, coming from a school of almost 3,000 kids down to Wood River at about 800, we have as many, if not more, clubs. So excuse me if I don't get to talk about all of them. We've really seen an amazing amount, an amazing breadth, because we have clubs that range from academic to also more non-traditional areas of study. We actually have leadership being built from FCCLA to NHS, Model UN, all the way up to Student Union. And really, all of those have been super successful. FCCLA has a competition, I believe, this weekend. Model UN just came back from San Francisco, where at the largest conference in the West for Model UN, we actually ended up bringing home hardware. And so we competed and we won. We also, beyond that, have other great things. We have the Environmental Club, which we all know has tried to do the band and is doing stuff now. We have also everything from debate team and club as well as key club. So we really range from the community aspects as well as the academic. Now, on to senior project, and this is really sort of what differentiates Wood River from a lot of other places, is that, again, like clubs, we're really developing areas that kids haven't developed before, and we're doing it really well. I see, honestly, we have kids who go from unengaged to all of a sudden being the master carpenter and welder, and they're doing awesome. I personally saw, I think, 7 shelves that probably could have been sold for thousands of dollars just a couple months ago. We also had a more academic. We had people who were doing a psychoanalysis of rap music. And we also had other different things that were really amazing, from building computers to reorganizing a beaver skeleton. And so it was really an amazing year, not only for clubs, but also for senior project. And with that, I'd like to open it up for questions.
Well, that's impressive.
So I'd just like to say it's a fantastic presentation. And, you know, how many are seniors? How many of you? So 3 of you are seniors. And I think, you know, right here is a reflection of the investment that our community has made. You know, every cent is worthwhile. And, you know, this is the result of that investment. So, thank you all very much, and that's just my comment. Any other comments from the board? No? No?
Thank
Fantastic.
you.
John?
Hey,
Yeah.
how many of you came from other systems? That you started your school careers in different school systems?
I do, yeah.
I somewhat did. I went to private schools
Albies. Thank you very
Great
much.
example.
Great
Thank you very
presentation.
much. We're proud of you.
Thanks for your time. Join our son, who's they need to be using their diploma. I mean, really. So here's the example, right?
Great salesman. Look at that. That's what we're doing.
It's awesome.
Yeah, he's
Well, that was terrific. Next on the agenda is our opportunity for public comment. And Ms. Kaufman, I didn't see any slips come in.
I didn't receive any.
Okay, just as a courtesy, if someone came in late and wasn't able to ask, I'm going to let you comment if you'd like. Nope, no takers. All right, moving on to the consent agenda, and I'll read through these item by item. Consent agenda reads as follows. Item A, consideration of minutes. Special meeting of the board, March 12th, 2013. Regular board meeting, March 12th, 2013. Special meeting of the board, March 18th, 2013. Special meeting of the board, March 21st, 2013. And special meeting of the board, April 4th, 2013. And special meeting work session of the board, April 4th, 2013. We were busy in March. B, acceptance of monthly financial report, payment of bills. Item C, application for student travel by student group, Larry Barnes, Wood River High School zoology and biology teacher. Approval of up to 12-week family leave for a certified staff member. Approval of student teaching contract for Andrea Gallegos under the direction of Paula Daub, Haley Elementary School. And item F, approval of personnel exiting and entering. And Ms. Kaufman, are there any?
I have two names to read for you.
Thank you.
Under classified staff exiting, we have Darlene Byington. She's a bus driver in the transportation department. And under certified staff exiting, Pamela Rie, and she's a full-time kindergarten teacher at Cary School.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda as read.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? No discussion? All in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye. So, unanimous approval of the consent agenda. Okay. Moving on to guest presentations. And tonight, Joni Cashman's going to present, and she is the Woodside art teacher along with Jennifer Meekum, the Cary art teacher, and the title is It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
My student Emmett is also here to present with us. So thank you very much for letting us present this project this evening. This project that we've done was funded through Arts Pound School in conjunction with the Idaho Commission on the Arts and the National Endowment to the Arts. We did this project in 4th grade at Woodside Elementary and at Cary Elementary. We chose the 4th grade because they study Idaho State history. And we felt like the kids took a field trip and they went to Haley and they studied all the old buildings in Haley and they did the same thing in Cary. And so we decided that 4th grade was a great age to do it. Jennifer's passing out a little bit of stuff and we'll run a video. Can you run it? This is, oh no, I'm sorry. Not yet.
Zoe.
So, but last year we did another project at Cary School and it was so successful that I wanted to do another project through Arts Power Schools, and so we decided to invite Joni along to help out, so we did a nice collaboration. We also had the opportunity to present our project at the National Art Education Association Convention in Fort Worth, Texas in March. And it was really well received and we had some really great feedback where we connected with teachers across the country. And we even found a really excited teacher in New York City who wants to do a print exchange with us next year. So we're kind of excited about that. And we also created a blog for our presentation that we actually have a little card for the board members that you can scan at the back, and there's a QR code on the back you can scan. It'll take you to the blog that we had up for our conference, and it's still there. And so video to show you.
Jennifer, did you work something out with me?
Out, it was one story, so it was a long house. But Mr. Friedman didn't like shoveling snow. And what do we have in our community every winter? Snow. Lots of snow, sometimes. Not this year, but sometimes we have lots of snow, but maybe this evening we might have more snow. Anyway, Mr. Friedman told his contractor and the man that was building his home to build it so that he didn't have to shovel snow anymore. So what they did, this home has 3 stories, and they built a porch around it. So he was pretty smart, wasn't he?
On the bed, you like fold the blankets over and it's like tucking the kid into bed. And then you like roll the roller over and then you like wait. It's like, and then you pull the blankets over. It's like waking your kid up.
Cool. So, were you happy with your finished print?
Yeah. Yes, I was because it looked really cool and it looked like a true artist made it.
And he did the S.J. Friedman house, and my plates look a little different than Jennifer's plates. And there was a reason, is because it took us, we did 55 students in 3 days and 2 hours. And so the ink was still wet, so in order for these kids to be able to take their plates home and we still have a good relationship with parents, I painted them all, they painted them all white with house paint, and then they went back in with clay pots. So they can take their plates home. And so this is Emmett's, and here's his print, and then I'm going to let him tell you about his experience. You can go.
The whole way I made the print right here is I took the original house and I looked to find any shapes I could see in the house. Like there's squares and triangles. And then whatever I saw, I cut those pieces out like a puzzle. And then I took those pieces and traced them onto a piece of paper that had texture like sandpaper. And then I glued it back together and reassembled it. And this is what I got. And I rolled ink over it and we put it through the press and I came up with that.
Nice.
Anyone have any questions for me?
Did you get, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
I was just going to say, how did you decide what textures to use for the different shapes?
I looked at the house and I decided that this paper right here, it looked like it had shingles and roof style shingles, so I chose that. And the rest, I chose pieces of cardboard for making the fence and base with floral print for like the yard. And I just went off of what I saw in the picture.
Looks good.
It's pretty.
So I want to just tell you, that is so cool looking. I would frame that and put that in my house. And just so you know, I'm an art teacher. Very, very cool. So the one question I have, when you're doing that ink is pretty messy. Do you get any on you, or are you able to do it without getting ink on you?
You just use the roller.
Just use the roller so you didn't have to touch it or anything, huh? Really nice art.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I've got one for Emmett. A comment, maybe a question to the teacher. I got to tell you, you are one of the most well-spoken individuals that I've seen come up in front of the board. What grade are you in?
What?
What grade are you in?
4.
Wow. I can see maybe a politician or something. So nice job, and nice job on your project. And you're welcome. I have a question. How did you guys work it out with location issues? I mean, you have a press at one school or both, or?
Amy brought her portable press
Oh.
to our school. That was the first beginning pictures you saw, and it was really cool to use an authentic press.
Mhm.
And Jennifer has one in her classroom because she's K-12. But I'm working on trying to get press.
Yeah, no. And then Amy, the printmaking artist, she's with Wingtip Press in Boise. She spent the first 3 days of our 5 days at Woodside Elementary, and then she spent 2 days at Cary. So we were in our respective schools during the project.
And I'm with Ronnie. I would frame this and hang it in my home. And can you make more of them? Yeah?
Now, probably valuable in multiples.
We made 3. One for, speaking of which, I almost forgot. The students' artwork is being hung in the Idaho Historical Museum in Boise.
Wow, great.
So all of Woodside and all of Cary's are hung there. And in fact, one of my fellow teachers went, and she had forgotten that I had told everybody. And she turned around and she was like, oh my God. And they're hung in kind of a smile shape because we had so much fun doing it. But we had to, in order to preserve the place, we had to paint them and then we colored them. So my particular group of prints we cannot replicate, but we made 3. We made one for the museum, and also to be on display in this community, hopefully, when we find a venue. One for the students, and one to do a print exchange. So we're going to do a print exchange with Cary, and then this woman is also doing 2 other venues.
Hazelton, and another venue over near Pocatello.
So we're going to do an exchange that way. So, but like Jennifer said with the Blogspot, apparently she's checked it in. We've gotten two interested parties from Germany and somebody from South Korea looking at it. And at the convention, we were really well received. We met a woman from New York who said, "I'd love to do it." And we said, "We'd love to exchange with you. We have, something from New York City and our buildings."
Yes.
I had a question because I may have missed. Did the students go on a walking tour? How did they select the houses that they wanted to look at?
Good question.
We did. We went on a tour with the guide on a field trip, and then we came back, and Miss Cashman took pictures of the houses up front so we could see them clearly.
I see. And the walking tour, the historical
Right,
tour, great.
And so with this, though, we did have a good lesson. Is it okay to continue?
Yeah.
Okay, great. The funny story is, as you saw, we had Joan Davies come in, and she's a great historian. And my lesson, because we presented not only with elementary teachers, but we presented at the community level at the Nationals. So have we ever presented before? And we got 2 slots to present this, so it was pretty cool. Anyway, I was taking pictures, and this person walked out of the house and said, "This is a Zink Spur schoolhouse." And I went, "Cool." So I took a picture of it, and it was a Zink Spur schoolhouse until Joan Davies came in and said, "That's not the Zink Spur schoolhouse." So it's actually the David Howe house. So we had to change all the names on the prints. We had a great time. It didn't change our plates or anything, but it's just the idea that when you want it authentic, you really do need a historian, because this map is a little confusing. So it was a great lesson.
Good for the students.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions?
So you're not just teasing us with these. Can we take these home?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
No, we're going to roll it.
Yeah. So thanks so much for your passion. On behalf of the board, I think we could, confer that we support the arts in this community. And just thanks so much for your passion and what you do for kids. And it looks like Paul has a comment.
Did all of the prints involve the technique of building up this?
Yes.
This is a huge amount of effort and ingenuity in itself, not counting the printing. There are all these different textures and everything, and then they paint them when they're done with the printing. Is that?
Well, we printed them, and Jennifer's are here. This is
the roof's backwards on one of them.
And
They're that way on purpose.
Oh.
yeah, because when printmaking, if you have to flip it backwards in order to get forward to print. And so Jennifer's are in plastic bags, and they had a little more time than we did. So the process that we did was sort of the ramrod. And so we couldn't get the black ink off of the plates, and they were all in plastic bags like this, and it broke my heart not to be able to give them back to my students. So we solved it by painting them with house paint white and going in with Crayops. But in actuality, you should be able to use wet wipes, take the ink off, and then have them usable again. And next year, when I have a little more time, we will do it the proper way. But that way, we got to keep the plates, which was real important to me because of how much energy the kids put into them, and it's just cool.
Great job.
Thank you, Emmett. Come see us again.
I'll take care of that.
Okay, next.
Emmett, would you like to come up and make a presentation?
So Marley, do a quick introduction here. So next on the agenda is it WOW?
WOW students.
WOW students, and Mr. Morley Golden is going to present.
How are we going to advance the slides? Do I just nod?
You can give me the high sign.
I can do that. Okay, good. First of all, want to introduce Louise Stump and Whitney Worth, without whom this project would not have gone forward. We started about 18 months to embark on the initiative to empower the county's 4,000 students to make a difference in their community. I want to thank the board, Lonnie, John, the staff. This is the only place in the United States this project is being attempted. And there would have been a lot of pushback from most people, but they greeted us with open arms, and we are having more fun than you can imagine, as you'll see as we go through with this. Start with why we're doing this. We believe that generosity is what differentiates our community and binds the community together, and you've heard that in presentations this evening. That we believe that by innovating and thinking differently, we can make a larger difference, and our real focus is connecting with outcomes so that you can actually know that you made a difference. What is generosity? Two more. There we go. It's giving, serving, and taking action for the common good. It's time, talent, and treasure, and we will try to embody all three of those in what we are doing. Why are we doing this? We want the students to know they can make a difference, to understand the fabric of generosity across our community, and to help them foster leadership. What are we? We're a collaboration of the students, the families, the schools, the nonprofits, who all have a vested interest in the community. We want the students to know that they can make a difference and to be engaged in what's going on across the entire Blaine County. Where did the funds come from to do this? There's a group of 15 investors this year. This project is going to be perpetual. That's our plan. And the use of the funds, the student grants are based upon $25 per student across the 4,000 students in the valley. We've got $20,000 of operating expenses. We want to create what I've called a venture capital fund for the students in the coming years to generate projects because they know best, rather than letting the nonprofits, as you'll see, come up with the projects. Here are the grants at $25 a student across the 8 Blaine County School District schools. We also have included in the 4,000 students the 4 private schools. There are 125 nonprofits operating in Blaine County. And I'm sure most of you know it because you get it in your mailbox. But these are the 31 that have joined us for the first year, and most of them are familiar. They have submitted 20 or 70 projects for the students to select from. I want to quickly touch, I'm not going to read this, as to how we connect with the school district's core values, the performance indicators, and the strategic goals. A moment, what we expect from the students, and they have given us more than we ever dreamed of, as you'll see in a minute. We want them to have fun and to experience the joy of generosity because it is truly joyful, to understand they can be change makers, and to expand their sphere of influence, and just enjoy and understand what is going on. Some statistics. This is our first year. We currently have 40% of your students engaged in the project, 1,301 to be exact. We expect that to go up to the mid-40s. We've got 25% of the nonprofits in Blaine County engaging their students. And if you look at it across the valley, or across the county, we've got 47% of all the K-12 students in Blaine County, and we are expecting that to end up somewhere in the mid-50s by the end of the school year. Unbelievable. Now I'm going to let the kids do the talking and show you some of the projects. This is the 2nd and 5th grade at Hemingway. Dawn was the first school to hit 100%. And the entire Hemingway group is engaged. To show you how this works, the left-hand photo is a presentation by Higher Ground to the students. The students then, in participating, created signs to be used as navigation at an event that Higher Ground did at Dollar Mountain, and then the investment the students made back to Higher Ground. Then there's Bill Cottrell. You all know about Bill and the Beautify Bellevue project. Bill came to us and said, I want to continue my project, so he did. And this project is in progress. They have made presentations to the Bellevue Council and have gotten approval this year to put solar lights on the sign, and they will go up in the next few weeks. You can see the students on the left who are learning about solar energy. You can notice down here is an ad for school. The Wood River High School art class, they wanted to hook up with Camp Rainbow Gold, who has an art tent at the camp during the summer. On the left is a presentation by the Camp Rainbow Gold about their purpose, which is important for what we're doing. We want the students, as they move through the grades, to understand the breadth of different nonprofits in this valley. The students, not unlike Emmett, made prints and then sold them at an art show in Haley. They took those proceeds, augmented them with the $25 a student, and the lower picture is a presentation to Camp Rainbow Gold for the art supplies for the camp. These are interesting because the Toplins project you know well is the advocates, and you've had, I think last meeting you had a presentation by Daryl. What the Woodside fourth graders did is they not only had the presentation by Daryl, but they selected a project from the advocates, and they are in the midst of assembling what I would call care packages for the children who are eventually going to have to be in the shelter.
That's what Emmett's doing too.
Oh, really?
That's my class.
Oh, that is your class, okay. That was fun, and I've got to tell you, Steve, you made the comment about Emmett's well-spoken. I was there for that, and that was an amazing presentation, wasn't it, Emmett? Daryl did a great job. So this we still got to close the loop on. Swisher Ranch was selected by the Bellevue fourth graders, and Cheryl made a presentation to them about the mission of Swisher, and then in May they're going to go take a field trip down to Swisher and learn firsthand what they're doing to help the people that use their facility. And as it turned out, one of the classmates, who didn't know this at the time, is a user of Swisher, and she's going to be the demonstrator for the kids when they go down to Swisher. Now we start going off, the last two are off the charts. The blue team at Wood River Middle School decided to take this and wrap their entire curriculum around it. The basic core issue with the kids was the question of who am I? They developed the Prezi presentation to explain what they were going to do during the year. They then decorated pots after studying symbology and other things. Each pot represented who they were, and then they had a pot sale. No, not that time. Thank you for correcting me. Parallel to this, they had the
A lot more than they thought they were going to.
select projects of the 70 that they were interested in individually. Those students called and made appointments with the executive directors of the nonprofits in the valley to come in and be interviewed by the students. I didn't expect that at all, and all the calls came through me to set up, and I had to put the kids back in touch with the EDs. They then made classroom presentations. There was 110 kids in the blue team.
Yeah.
There were 9 presentations made in front of the whole blue team. Sammy's presentation was selected. She was arguing in favor of an Expedition Inspiration project. The outcome of that was all 110 kids made a field trip up to Sun Valley during the Expedition Inspiration Breast Cancer Symposium and won lower left-hand picture, one of the oncologists and the young researcher spent an hour with the kids answering questions about cancer. And well, all three of us were there, and I've got to tell you, it was an amazing experience. At the end, the executive director of Expedition Inspiration was crying. And it was unbelievable. And there's Sammy introducing them. I want to read some of the quotes real quick. Sammy, quote, "I love the feeling you get when you know that you helped someone or did the right thing. I would recommend WOW to the other kids because helping your community can be fun. This project made me proud. It made me feel like I can actually make a difference in the world. I could change the minds of 113 students to donate to a cause that I bet 99% of them had never heard of before." Jill Clark, one of the Lupine teachers, made the following comment in front of the kids at the presentation on the left. "This is the second most rewarding experience I've had in my teaching career." And then there's the treasure part. They are funding the young researcher for this coming year. Hemingway, this was sort of grew as we went along. The fourth grade picked the Lee Pesky project called Ready to Read. And the original concept was that the students would learn about the Lee Pesky Center, which is what was going on here in the pictures. And then they would read originally to the pre-K students. The kindergartners heard, the teachers heard about this and said, "Me too." So there happened to be, Don, 68 on both sides of the equation. There were 68 fourth graders and 68 pre-K and K. And the fourth graders read a book to the pre-K and K students, as you can see in these pictures, in Spanish and in English. And then at the conclusion of the reading, they gave the books to the K and pre-K students to take home. But it doesn't end here. What grew out of this was Pesky has been working on a book, I call it a parent's manual, they won't quite go that far, encouraging parents to read to their kids, read with their kids. And they had published, we were about ready to publish this, the funds from the fourth grade pre-K and K students at Hemingway were ultimately the majority funders on this. The book has been published. I think each of you got one in your packet. And they then had a meeting of interested parents, Pesky, of interested parents at Hemingway to help them and to give them this book to help read and do math with their kids. In the coming year, just so you know where we're going next year, we learned a fact that being 71 years old and not having kids recently, the kids don't talk to the parents. And we thought we would get to the parents through the kids. We found that wasn't quite the case. So we're going to spend a little more time engaging the parents this coming year. As those of you who have students in the school district, I suspect some of you may or may not have heard what's going on. We want to provide the teachers with more support materials about the broad concept of generosity. We had a number of projects that were selected across campuses. Hemingway would have one, and Wood River Middle School would have one, and Community School would have one. We want to try to pull them a little bit closer together this coming year. And we also want to encourage more student-generated projects, because we think they know best, and we're there. And then I want to thank you again, and John, Heather, and Mike, who have been our champions in this, and the administration and the faculty for the participating campuses. You've got a great group of people out there, and you should feel really good, because we've got to know them very well. So, are there any questions?
Great, big thank you.
Thank you.
It's incredible. It's kind of it's a pay it forward type of program. That's kind of how I look at it.
Exactly.
And it's just incredible, the community we live in. So, thank you all very much.
So your intention is to create this to go on and on?
Yes, the intent is to perpetuate this, and fortunately, it's not about the money.
Wow.
In the sense that it wasn't going to make any difference if it was $30 as opposed to $25. So what we're going to do this next year, we're going to fund it pretty much like we did this year. We want to expand it to the business community because all generosity stems from business one way or the other. Last year was not a good year to initiate that. We want to expand it there, and then we've got some other opportunities for creating an endowment that will perpetuate it. But yes, we want it to go on.
I'm just flabbergasted at how generous this community
it's amazing.
Continues to be, and it just expands to the students.
Yep. And it gets them, I can't tell you the joy that it brought us, and watching the students engage and be joyful.
And I do want you to know that we are proud of our staff.
Good.
Okay?
That's good to hear.
Yeah, and we back them, we've got their backs. So very much appreciated for that comment.
Okay.
John?
Can I just say, working with Morley was just an amazing experience for myself. I mean, 3 kids through the system and 1 still coming at the middle school, and I can tell you that this is why I wouldn't want to raise my own kids, anywhere else. And we are so much more than just SAT scores, as you can see. I mean, you just don't get this experience everywhere. I didn't get it growing up. And I got to tell you, when I first started talking to Morley, my first question was, do you understand how much money you're talking about going out and raising? He was like, I'm not worried about that. You know, it was just, let's get the kids involved. And he has come through in spades. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So
I'm amazed at your enthusiasm, the fact that you stood up at your page and taking this. I'm a little older than you. I raised 6 kids in this Wood River Valley. Mr. Blackman knows my children, but the youngest is now 38 years old. And
You're dating me.
And we have this wonderful mural that he created to our students, each one doing a construction piece. It was all assembled throughout the wall. It was so fabulous. And this is at least 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Age doesn't mean a thing, right?
That's right. Every year it gets better.
Well, yeah.
I just have one comment, and I want to direct it to Morley, but I want to make it kind of general, because I'm just sitting here thinking about, we do have resource in this valley, but the amazing thing is how people who have resource will direct it back to youngsters, to kids. And I just want to thank you so much, Morley. Just in the last, this is what's happening right now in Blaine County. This amazing thing, which I just think is just kind of over the top. The Dream Foundation, so 2 of our classes of 3rd graders being given college education. Benjamin and Teresa are just finishing the Worship Grace Foundation. They've given $800,000 to teachers' children to go on to higher ed. And the most amazing thing about it is they don't have to do it. They don't have to come to the school district. They could be philanthropists in other ways. And I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
It's just an amazing thing that you've given the kids.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Okay. We're losing a few. Hey, Emmett. See you, buddy.
Good job, bud. You're just doing it. That's not short. That's good. Do that. Is that amazing? So it's teaching kids. I mean, that's hard to teach, right? Usually we spend a lot of that.
Okay, I'm going to move on. Dr. Gordon?
Thank you.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, next on the agenda is the superintendent's discussion with the board. And it looks as though you've got a security committee update for us.
Yeah, it's not very long today, board, but I did want to give you an update. After the break-in at the high school happened, one thing that we know in Blaine County is we never dismiss anything as, oh, it couldn't happen here. But when something like the break-in at the high school happens, it really brings it home. And so, you know, we want to be proactive, and what we've said in our strategic plan is we will have the safest schools that you can have. So I don't know if it's possible without putting a cage around the schools to block every bad thing out, but we're working hard to make our environments in our envelopes, our school envelopes, the safest they can be. Out of that, some good things happened. Our safety and security officer and I were able to sit down, and after the break-in at the high school, I really discussed his job responsibilities again and outlined what we really wanted him to do. You know, he's now in our schools every single day and for several hours. And I was talking to him yesterday. He was out on Bellevue's playground the other day. He's getting to know the kids. That's what we want our safety and security officer to do, be in the schools. So out of that, I will also just let you know, we, and the board knows, we want to put together a task force. We've been working on that. And so I just wanted to report that I met with the chief of police in Haley and our security officer, Scott Manning, Jeff Gunner and Scott Manning, earlier. We had eight community members applied to be on the Safety and Security Task Force. We're going to put all 8 of them on there. There are some just great skill levels that want to come on. For instance, one of the people that wanted to be on it, and certainly we want him, is a retired 25-year FBI specialist who's dealt with a lot of these kind of issues. So we have a tentative date for our first meeting, and we'll finalize that actually tomorrow. We've got to do a little calendar checking because we have so many things going on. The first meeting will be May 8th. The Safety and Security Task Force will be a standing committee that meets every 6 weeks. Because first of all, we have a lot to talk about, and second of all, I'm not sure you ever just reach the status as, okay, now we're done. We're a safe place. So we're excited about it. That committee is going to be co-facilitated by the Chief of Police, Jeff Gunter, Scott Manning, and myself. And it'll be a big committee, but we're really excited that some very good things will come out of it. Great. So I just wanted to give you the update that, we've put that together. They've worked hard on it, and I think we also have representatives of each of our law enforcement agencies in the whole valley on it. So, I also hope that when we get done with this thing, we have a more coordinated plan for what happens if we do have different emergencies. We do have a draft of our safety handbook now. We're going to start the meetings working on our safety handbook because it's essential that everyone in our school district understands if this happens, this is what we do. And, I guess what I would end with is just saying sometimes bad things like a high school being broken into, good things can come out of that and good focus. And I think this is going to be beneficial for us.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lonnie. Okay, next on the agenda is a curriculum report, and Dr. Budge is going to give us that. Thank you.
So I'm just going to give a quick update of where we are with the instructional materials adoption. So we have 3 things going, 3 subject areas. Of world languages is in 1-year adoption. Teachers have selected, and parent community members have also been a part of this, 2 publishers for French, 2 publishers for Spanish, and they are sending representatives to do presentations for our broader committee. Those are scheduled for April 24th, 25th, and 26th. And from there, in this case, World Languages will select a text, and then we will be bringing that forward to you for adoption, official adoption, beginning next year. So they're just a 1-year cycle, so they go through it a little quicker. And Lyman is here. He is actually reviewing French textbooks for us, and we have 2 other committee members that are looking at Spanish textbooks. There are some, we are hoping that when we get the publisher presentations, which is pretty typical, they send us the textbook, and then when they come and do a presentation, we typically get to see all the goodies. So one of the things we'll be looking for is what are the technology enhancements that will go with that textbook so that kids can literally walk into a a restaurant in France and order from the menu, and those kinds of things that technology makes available. So that's where we are at with world languages. Language arts, this is a big one. So we're in year one of the language arts adoption process. The task force has been on an ongoing basis, reading current theory and research in the field, and also educating ourselves on the Common Core. Community members are participating in that process, and we have a community member parent that at each sort of grade span level, so elementary, middle, and high. We are developing, in fact, we spent a full day looking at different criteria. One of the things about the Common Core is we can't use the old stuff that we used to use in terms of how we're going to select materials. So we had a subcommittee that spent a full day that looked at work that's been done in other states, and our old checklist, developed a draft rubric, and we tested it out on Monday night. So we brought some materials in, and we sort of tested our own tool to see what's missing here, what are we not representing on the rubric for selection. Sample materials have been ordered, and they'll continue to be ordered. In this world, there are basically three big publishers. Publishing houses are consolidated. So there are three big publishers that produce textbooks or basal reading series. There are a couple of other publishers that produce, I'm not sure how to describe them. They're not basal readers, but they're support kits for teachers to do things like Readers and Writers Workshop. We have a group of elementary teachers. Angie is the administrator that's on this task force that are going to the International Reading Association conference in San Antonio next week. And they'll spend a lot of time in the vendor areas looking at various materials and options that are out there. I spent an hour today with Tim and Jerry speaking to the Google rep on Chromebooks and what's available, what's out there in terms of the HTML5. Listen to me like I know what I'm talking about.
Good one. No, yeah, you do.
And the fact that, so much of curriculum is going to be delivered via the web now, and what are the options? What are the published stuff, and what is the open source stuff that teachers can use to create their own, in essence, textbook? So that's going to be another piece that we'll be educating the task force on in terms of what's available. And I know now that when we go to San Antonio, I'm going to be asking every single one of them, so what are your technology needs, and are they Chromebook or Chrome friendly so that it's really out on the web? So that's where we are with language arts. And with science, we are going to be coming to you next month for formal adoption. Materials have been selected. I think I said some of this the last time I updated you on science. The elementary has selected FOSS Science. 6th grade is going with Carolina Labs. Those are very similar. Those are kit-based, hands-on, inquiry-based. 7th and 8th grade is going to be our test case. They are the first 2 grades that are going to go totally with a technology solution, so discovery education. And then,
Can I interrupt for just a minute? Which actually lends itself to the primary resource you were just talking about.
It does.
So Discovery Ed would allow our teachers to go out and use iBook or other things to create their own books that supplement Discovery Ed, pull in from different sources, which really is, as Kathleen just said, the trend of the future.
and then in high school, biology, physics, and chemistry went with Pearson. Again, but all that, they have technology enhancements added on to that, and then physical science is with the Glencoe as the publisher. So the teachers have selected those materials. The students took surveys. We had K-12 develop some surveys, and students gave input in terms of these selections. I really credit the teachers and the task force for selecting in terms of science. Not the materials that are easiest for the teachers, but the materials that best motivated the kids. And that was uniformly the case. They know it's going to be more work to use the kit-based approach, or even to get kids meaningfully engaged in the technology solutions, and organizing the classroom. It's just more work for teachers. but the payoff when we saw the kids buy in was worth it. We are also I'm having an open house for any community member that wants to come and see the instructional materials in the community campus at April 25th. I'll start out with just a little presentation on what happened with the science adoption, what the process was, how we got to the selection, how the materials there, and then people can just come in and see them. So that's pretty much it. Questions?
Tom?
Yeah.
Dr. Budge, I was just going to, you're going to come before us at the next meeting for approval for science. I would encourage you to invite the people who participated on this task force so we can thank them for their time and hard work on this.
Thank you. I will ask Susie to let them know that we're
Great.
going to do that. Yep, they did a great job.
Nice work, Ed. There are 3 adoptions there, right? And they have sped right along, and I think it's been transparent, collaborative. It's a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, one of the things that's interesting to me that has changed over time and really changed with this adoption is, in the past, school districts sort of adopted one publisher, K-12. And I love the fact that each grade level went in and looked, and the only thing that I told Kathleen is, the only thing we have to be sure is that they articulate, right? Which I think they do.
And the maps really help with that, the fact that we're doing the mapping, because we have maps now that are really curriculum-based maps, not textbook-based maps, and that's what's really the articulation. You can see unit by unit. And I do have to say that in each case, in all 3 of these groups, the level of professionalism that this teaching staff and the administrators that are part of this exhibit throughout this process is amazing. It's just amazing. There's never a test that I need somebody to help with, that they're stepping up to the plate. Darlene Dyer, as an example, we had just a mess of a draft checklist that I just was dreading looking at. All spring break, I just let it go. And she emailed me on Monday after spring break and said, I got a little time. I'm willing to fix that up. And she's an English teacher. I'm like, yes. So I said, are you sure? She said, yes. And, she came back with this beautiful product. That's typical. That's typical of those teachers. They're just really hardworking. They care about what they're doing. So it's been a great experience.
I think what you hit on too is that, that the adoptions are not, they're more a tool. And I like to hear that our teachers create their lesson plans and base their instruction on the tools that the district provides. Am I right thinking that way?
Yes, we're really working on that language because I really want people to understand the standards are the standards, the instructional materials are the materials. The curriculum is what they as professionals develop out of the standards and the materials, and that's what we show on the map. Mm-hmm. To get really clean about the textbook is not the curriculum.
Now, are we to a point now where we have a depository or some kind of mechanism where successful lesson plans or successful experiences can be accessed by all teachers? Is that something to think about?
Well, I'm not sure we're quite there yet. Here's what we are. I think we have gotten pretty close to it, Steve. I think we need to formalize it more because we actually have a place to hold that stuff, but I just think we need to get our teachers to start using it more.
Well,
it's a best practice. It holds best practice for us.
And it's, significant amount of work also. So
yeah.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Thank you, Kathleen.
Oh, where am I? Boy, I lost them all, Paul. I'm going to wait till we have a quorum.
They're so excited.
Oh, yeah, I got that. Yeah, we could send a promise. Yeah. Should I say it tonight? Okay. Yep, thank you. Great. I'll do that. I lost the mic. Huh? I don't know, it's my report.
I like your.
That's where she should be. Waiting on you there, good guy. And I do want to, I'm proud of an award that we just received. And we've done a lot of work here at the district in regards to transparency. And I think this just proves the efforts that have gone towards that mission. And I'm going to read an email. This is the Sunny Award, awarded to the Blaine County School District. And I'm going to read this message that I got from the Sunshine Review. So it says, Dear Steve, congratulations. The Blaine County School District website has won a Sunny Award. The Sunny Award is presented by the editors of Sunshine Review to honor the most transparent government websites in the nation. These outstanding websites have scored an A- transparency grade on Sunshine Review's transparency checklist. This year, only 247 of more than 7,000 government websites ranked by Sunshine Review earned a Sunny Award. Sunshine Review will publicly announce the winners in a national media release that has already happened, actually, on March 10th through the 16th. So, thank you all. I want to thank Ms. Crocker, our Communications Director, for, I know, the work that she's put towards the website, and Dr. Barber, and everyone involved with that. Very much appreciated. Okay, in addition, I've got a few announcements. We've got a conference on May 1 from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. at Zanies in Haley. And we've got a special meeting work session scheduled on April 25th at 12 noon to 1:30. And right now we have the Mountain School penciled in as the topic of that meeting. And then we have our regular May board meeting scheduled for May 8th. And moving on to old business. I see it's 7:30 on the notes.
7:31. You're behind.
So it looks like permission to advertise for bids for resurfacing of the Cary running track and the Wood River High School and Wood River Middle School tennis courts. And Mr. Royal's going to give us a rundown.
All right.
Pretty much.
Tell us all you know, Howard.
No, the Cary track is in need of resurfacing. It has a kind of a rubber overlay that needs to be put on that. And then also the Wood River High School tennis court and middle school tennis courts are also due to be resurfaced also. So we'll put together a bid spec, go out for bid, and I have had a lot of interest. I had a phone call yesterday, a phone call today to make sure that the vendors are all informed when it hits the paper so that they have the opportunity to bid.
Great, yeah. John?
Howie, what did we do last year?
We actually started this process, and it got a little late in the season.
Okay, that's what I was
All
thinking.
advised
Okay.
me to say, you gotta wait till spring to do this, so it was a little late into the fall. And it doesn't take much. It's a pretty narrow window that they like to do this. They want the nights to be warm to make sure they get good cure on the product.
Okay, that's what thanks.
When was the last time the high school?
I don't think it's, they try to run about a 10-year cycle.
Oh.
High school's about, track is about 10 years, the tennis court's a little sooner. The tennis courts at the high school actually have some impressions that have formed.
Yeah, they're
And it was probably, there was maybe a compaction issue. So they've all looked at it, they have what they call kind of a slip sheet that they've all said that they would like to put on there to bring the impression up a bit, so that the surface is flat again.
Thank you.
Sure.
So do I hear a motion to allow, or to give staff permission to advertise for bids for resurfacing the Cary Cary School running track and the Wood River High School and Wood River Middle School tennis courts?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Further discussion? No discussion, all in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion as read, approved. Moving on, new business.
You have an
Oh, I'm sorry,
amended
amendments.
agenda, yeah.
The word, middle school budget.
Yep. Thanks, Lori.
Oh, Jim.
All right.
Thank God.
So the amendment that was approved earlier in the meeting, we're going to hear from, is it Mike? Mike, are you going to present?
Sure.
Okay. And it's the approval of the Wood River Middle School expansion budget.
Okay, this was a topic of our work session that we had on last Thursday as well, portion of it. And we did go back and met with the staff, we've met with the architects, we've met with the builders. We've met several times on ideas of how we could cut this back. And still, when we looked at the list, and the list is the list. The list is about $75,000 in projected ways we could cut this project back to get closer to the budget, but still, if we eliminate $75,000 from the project, we're still over budget. And some of the areas that we were looking at eliminating are still areas that are not necessarily convenient type things. More or less, they're items that are going to be necessary, like the skylight in the center of the building. The big component of that skylight is none of those areas within that center area have any kind of a natural light. So that's the only natural light that they will get. So when you eliminate that, you're still going to have the same thing that was, we were looking at the remodel in the first place for us because it was such a cave effect area in there. So for, 15 to, I think it was $17,000 item for the skylight, the benefit it's going to create for all of that area inside there, not only the offices, but the classrooms that are inside there as well. We just felt like it was worth the extra money. The other big portion of that $75,000 was parking lot repairs. You could eliminate the parking lot repairs, but more than likely, we're still going to need to repair the parking lots when we get all of this heavy equipment going in and out of there over the course of the summer. So in order to, if we eliminate that out, more than likely we're going to be back asking for additional money to have that in. It was just our feeling that if we leave it in and we don't spend the money, it's still the same purpose of not having to spend it in the first place and not worrying about whether or not we're going to need it or not. So looking at that, the committee talked about it, we discussed it for quite a while, and felt like for the little amount that we were asking for, we felt like that we could cover in other areas within the middle school prep facility of the budget, as we talked about last Thursday. More than likely, we're not going to move forward with the pilot project on the solar project there, which would be more than enough money to cover the entire cost of the project with the middle school. So the committee came back and said we want to recommend to the board that they accept the two budgets that were proposed last Thursday. And I think the total of those two budgets were $1,762,081.
Wait, 1,762,000.
$1,762,081.
Mike, what was can you remember what the solar project would have cost? I can't remember.
$234,600.
Oh,
Yep.
Boy, you guys are quick studies. Oh, thank you.
I memorized
So we have Paul here, we have Troy is here as well, we have Billy on here as well. If we have any questions for the builders or the architects, their feelings. One key thing that I want to remind you is this whole project is, we haven't got to the point where we're actually bidding. So the numbers that we have in front of you are all worst-case numbers. I'm sure that Paul's ready to sign a contract not to exceed, but that doesn't mean that if the project comes in less, that he keeps the money. If the project comes in less, the money comes back to the school district.
Mike, you made a comment. Yeah, last Thursday we had an opportunity to go through this whole plant levy spendings, and I guess as I look at this, and I said before, looking at the middle school and the umbrella it's under for the projects, we are able to maybe move some money around underneath that umbrella. For example, the solar array is $234,000. I talked to you a little bit about the retro commissioning and how we're going to do some of that. So I'm comfortable with the fact that we are going over with this addition and the ASD program, but again, that's something that when the plant levy budget was put together, the ASD program wasn't even a thought of what we were going to do. So I think we need a little flexibility in here to accomplish the goal, and I think fortunately we're able to do that looking at the overall budget for the middle school.
Yeah, I think the team has done a great job kind of weeding through the priorities and figuring out what's needed most. Paul?
I agree, and talking with staff, the quality that they feel that they're getting in environment is incredible. I mean, they feel that they worked as partners on this, and if we can create the highest quality environment, that's only going to be beneficial.
There's been a lot of give and take on all parties throughout this entire process, and a lot by the staff, just realizing that they knew they were over budget, but they didn't want to push it too far to make things look like they were extravagant, but they still wanted to make sure that they had their concerns listened to.
The board appreciates, sorry, Sean, that I know that Paul and your team and Mike and everyone, that you did go back to the drawing table to see if there was any flexibility there. But I do want to confirm that this 1.76281 is it's a not to exceed amount. Okay. Sean?
Yeah, I'd just like to reiterate my thanks to the community, to staff, to really go through and to make the tough decisions as far as what's important for the student experience, for their students' learning, and the flexibility of not just adding more classrooms, but adding spaces that are needed there in the middle school. Also like to express thanks to our patrons for allowing us the flexibility and giving us the trust to invest in our students in our facilities.
Thanks, Sean. So I'm going to, at this point, ask for a motion to approve the middle school expansion budget. We'll hear a motion.
I'll make that motion.
For a second?
A second.
Any further discussion? No discussion. All in favor, please.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye. So, motion to approve the Wood River Middle School expansion budget approved.
Okay, get to it, boys. Let's go.
Yep.
Got a half an hour of daylight left out there.
This is going to be hard that on all summer. Yeah.
In a bowl wet.
Thank you, guys.
All right. I want to make sure I'm going. Lori?
Yes.
So this other amendment item is...
That would be item B under new business, so go ahead
Right.
with item A as you see it.
Yeah, okay. All right, new business.
Let's skip that.
We're going to hear from the Hemingway Splash Park. And Jen and...
Give it a go.
You're pretty good, huh?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Is that the last name?
Oh, I didn't even look at that.
Stauffacher.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Jen Smith. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation for the City of Ketchum.
And thank you for having us added to your agenda at sort of late notice. This project was initiated by my predecessor, Kirk Mason, in 2005. He did a good deal of money raising and work on the project, and then, as we all know, the recession hit and everything was put on hold. More recently, Mayor Hall directed me to reinvigorate the project. He received some money. There's money available in the city coffers to actually make this happen. This is a capital improvement project in my department. And what it is a above ground splash park. Similar to Jimmy's Garden here in Haley. There's a park called Settlers Park in Meridian. So there's the concept drawing that Kirk actually got way back in 2006. And I want to thank Don Hazley and John Geddert for meeting with Jürgen and I to talk about location for this particular feature. And we sort of gave them the idea of locating it south of Hemingway School, where all the bumps are and the tetherball and the sort of exercise equipment there. It's a free play area for the kids. And this feature would be, you can play on it when it's not being used, which is the majority of the school year. It'll be, I believe that's Settlers Park in Meridian. So basically, it's just a spray park that's either a recirculating system or a flow-through system that ensures water quality. It would have direct touch by Jürg and his staff once daily during the operating season, which would be about, we're thinking, mid-June through August. So it's not going to, we don't want it to interfere with the school function for sure. We also don't want it to interfere too much with our summer program, which sees about 400 kids. So we didn't want to put it next to the tennis courts, because the tennis courts would lose out in that competition, I would think. So anyway, that's what we've done, and this is a very preliminary point in time where we'll go before City Council in Ketchum on May 6th and get hopefully receive their blessing to proceed. We've put out an RFQ, and we're receiving some inquiries about that. I imagine the feature itself will cost between $150,000, maybe $250,000. That's due to the pretty technical nature of those recirculating or flow through for public health and safety. So I think that's about it.
Don?
So, Jen, I had the opportunity with Principal Hazley to walk out on site, and it sounds like the timing would work pretty well with the Hemingway project going on, that it'll not be digging the same trench twice. So I'm assuming your goal is to get on this fairly rapidly, I guess, at the close of school, when we start ours?
Yep. That was actually a great opportunity we both got to achieve those economies of scale and not dig the same hole twice. And Mayor Hall is prepared to jump on this immediately. Again, like I said, we're going to need the full council's blessing. I don't think it's a very hard sell, but I can't speak for them. But we do want to take advantage of any excavation, I know that utility locates have happened, things like that. So if we can take advantage of any of that working together, we'll certainly do that.
Well, I want to know why Mr. Hazley met with me as well, but separately from Don.
Something about the number of school board members I can hand together.
I only had 10 minutes to meet with Mr. Hazley, and I knew.
That's all I had to. He showed me roughly the location. I'd like to see what your final thoughts are on that. I mean, I noticed that one big bump is completely bald on top, and I don't know if that's from usage and how that might play in if the splash park is located adjacent to it.
What the vendors are telling me now is that, the feature itself will be surrounded by either a paver or some sort of border. And so we're looking at, that area gets hammered by kids.
Yeah.
I mean, our whole park does, right? But we'll definitely take steps to incorporate with the existing landscaping and change it as needed to make everything, look good at the end of the day.
Yeah, and another concern is winter. It'll basically get snowed over and buried, and there won't be any real safety issues?
Again, from the vendors, what they're telling me is the above ground features that you can see, the red hoop here and the bucket drop thing, those can all be removed and the system can be fully winterized. I'm talking to vendors who are based out of Canada, and they say it's a very similar season to what we would have here, and then the local companies that we're potentially working with are out of Salt Lake and Boise. So they're fully aware of the activities that happen around the site and how to mitigate any damage or anything wrong happening. They tell me that kids can run on and play all over this place. So.
And you're the city, it will be entirely funded by the city?
Correct.
Mr. Hazley was saying you're even going to be using your water.
Correct.
You're going to be tapping out of one of the irrigation valves or something.
Yeah, I don't really know how that works. You're just in charge of that.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great. I hope he's kidding,
I would
right?
like to see the final location, but
Absolutely.
I think it's a great opportunity.
Sure, and I'd like to, have the opportunity to come back to you once we receive, hopefully, the blessing of the Ketchum City Council, and then have some designs that are closer to final.
Sure.
Due to aesthetics and other usage and other things, I'm assuming that the water filtration, everything's like that, is going to be down below grade pumps and such.
Yeah, depending on what system you're going to use, like this particular one would have like a 2,000-gallon tank and then an automatic dispensing system for chlorination and some acid.
Recycled,
and then
Sure you get the proper
you
pH
still have a water line hooked up to it who tops it off every so often.
okay.
So right now we're not quite sure if you're going to go to a recycling system or to just a use system. They have made some great advantages on the flow-through systems where the water's still going to, the used water, the feature is going to use this irrigation later. So we just have to see what the vendor's going to come up with right now. But most likely I would say it's going to be a recycling system.
Jen, what are you going to expect from the board, Blaine County School District Board, in the future?
I guess just your permission to continue and let us know what you need from us. We did come up with a memo of understanding when we built the Ketchum Bike Park on school district property. We're happy to do that. And any sort of concerns that come to your minds as we go through the process, just let us know.
Okay. Mike, you'll keep us abreast. I just want to say, the school district and the city of Ketchum, we have a tremendous relationship. You guys do so many good things for kids. It's very much appreciated. And I have some questions about risk that I can bring up with Mike before we leave. But,
Yeah, and any of those questions, Mike, that you might have that I can pass along to the vendors, that would be helpful too.
okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank
We hope
you.
to see you
Thanks.
soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So did I butcher your last name? Say it out loud.
Just a
once.
little bit.
Say it out loud once.
Stauffacher.
Okay, I didn't quite get it right. Not even close. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, and then item B, the approved amendment. Permission to add 1 science teaching position at Silver Creek High School. And Dr. Berger?
Board, I will begin with an apology because I should have had this in front of you a month ago. And then we would have a little bit more time. We are in the hiring time. And we've just been, I mean, I believe me, I'm going to take full responsibility for not having it in front of you in March when I should have. We just been doing it a million miles an hour. When we moved Silver Creek to the current location 5 years ago now, listen, 4 years ago now, we had a master plan. And that master plan has really come to fruition. It's worked very well for us. And one of the reasons we moved over there, first of all, was access to electives. There were virtually no electives at the old Silver Creek. They did they bused some kids to some culinary and stuff. And now they have full access to every elective we have. But our plan was always to solidify that school and make it solvent in the number of kids we have. We had fluctuated from 20 to 16 to 24. We're now over 50. And our original plan was to have 4 teachers in the school, 1 for each core area. So that would be Jill in the language arts, Sean in math. We don't have a science teacher over there, and we have Bing that covers all the history and American government. The electives, I think we're still pretty comfortable, Mike, with kids moving across the parking lot over there. So the reason I should have had this in front of you last month was to give you a month to contemplate it, because it's time to hire. So that's why this isn't added to the agenda today, so that there's a lot of moving pieces. So for example, if one of the teachers from Wood River High School would want to go to Silver Creek, there's another 2 weeks down the road, because then Wood River's got to post it. So that's why we're here today.
Well, I'm surprised we didn't see that request 3 years ago with the way the population of Silver Creek has expanded.
Exactly right, Paul.
And, you know, the fact that Silver Creek has continued to be as successful as it has without, I mean, you're looking at the same 3 people have been there for half their lives now. And look at what they, you know, you double the population, you increase it by 50%, and they produce the same outcome.
Right.
They produce successful.
Well, I do want to remind you, I want to remind the whole board that a year ago, the state increased the science requirements by 2. So that's why we're not just going over and trying to pluck one out of Wood River, because those kids have come from Wood River, you know, when we have an increase. But it's not like they came from an elementary. You can't just take a teacher. So if 30 more kids move over, it's not equal to 1 science teacher. It's equal to 30 slots in all of those science teaching positions. So with the added, and Silver Creek has to have those 2 added science credits also. So we just could not, we looked at it very closely, we just couldn't grab one from Wood River at this time. But as you know, we've been very careful over the last 3 and 4 years to not continue to add. We actually have a half that we let go last year that we didn't need, that we've not rehired for. So this hiring would really end up being total to us over the last 4 years, only a half additional employee.
I feel that we need to support Mike and his staff. There's so many good things happening at Silver Creek.
Dr. Barber, who prepared this?
Mike put it together for us.
I really like it.
It was fantastic. He went, if you go to the back, he went all the way back to talking to Mike about what the projected cost. I will tell you, that's the top end of it. That would be an experienced teachers. So we don't know, you know, so if you're hiring on the somebody new, it's going to be less than that, but it's not going to be more than that.
Well, the analysis and the format of this is, I think, something we
He
should
did a great job on it.
carry forward.
Did a great
It's
job
really
on it.
good.
We have a great principal over there. He knows how to coach kids up.
Very good, Mike.
Okay. So let's see, I'm going to ask for a motion to give staff permission to add 1 science teaching position at Silver Creek High School.
Make that motion.
Thanks, Paul. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Paul?
Is this science teacher going to be fully employed at Silver Creek?
They are.
Is this time filled with what you see as?
Great question, because we just talked about it today as we were talking about it. One of the things, this is what we're hoping for, and we never know until hiring comes. It would be really great for us if we could get a science teacher that had some credentials in areas other than science, so we broaden the curriculum, but he can keep them busy right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So a unanimous vote to provide staff permission to add 1 science teacher the Silver City High School. So, let's see. So one last opportunity for public comment, if there are any takers. No takers? And I'll ask for motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.